The Galactic Council chamber was a vast hall of shimmering light and shadow, a place where representatives from dozens of star systems gathered to debate the future of the galaxy. Holographic displays floated in the air, mapping out trade routes, military movements, and diplomatic agreements. The hum of quiet conversations filled the space as delegates exchanged greetings and prepared for the day's session. At the center of the chamber sat the council's presiding officer, a tall stoic, being named Varlis of the Zethari Dominion. His multifaceted eyes scanned the crowd, waiting for order. "Let us come to order," Varlis's voice resonated, clear and commanding. "Today's agenda will cover the disputed territories near the Orion Rift and ongoing trade negotiations. But first, we have a special visitor." A ripple of curiosity spread through the delegates. Special visitors were rare, especially unannounced. Before anyone could ask questions, the air shimmered at the far end of the chamber. A sudden pulse of energy rippled through the room, silencing all chatter. In a swirl of light and a faint hum, an alien figure appeared. It was unlike any species known to the Council. Standing slightly taller than an average human, the being's skin glowed with a soft silver-blue hue. Its eyes were deep pools of black, reflecting the chamber's light like stars in a night sky. It wore no armor or weapons, only a simple robe that fluttered despite the stillness of the air. The delegates exchanged uneasy glances. None recognized this visitor. The alien raised a slender hand in greeting. "I am Aelkar, envoy of the Persean Collective." The voice echoed in perfect galactic standard, calm but urgent. "I bring a warning to the Council." A murmur rose among the delegates, some skeptical, others intrigued. Varlis gestured for silence. "Speak, envoy," he said. Aelkar stepped forward. "Your histories are filled with wars, alliances, and conquests. You seek to expand your reach, often at the expense of others. But I come bearing news of a force you have not yet fully understood: humanity." The chamber fell silent. A few delegates shifted in their seats, whispers spreading like wildfire. "Humanity," Aelkar continued, "is not like other species. They possess a resilience and a ferocity born from countless centuries of struggle on a hostile planet. Their minds are as sharp as their spirits are unyielding." "Why do you warn us?" a voice called from the back. It was High Chancellor Ron, a veteran diplomat from the Triskari Coalition. "What does humanity threaten to our empires?" Aelkar's eyes darkened. "Because they are unlike any enemy you have faced. Should you attack them, your fleets will be met with more than force. You will face a strategy honed by survival itself. Their response will not be measured or forgiving. It will be total. They will destroy your outposts, your supply lines, and your very worlds until there is nothing left but ash." A ripple of disbelief and nervous laughter passed through the chamber. Varlis raised his hand for silence once more. "This is a serious claim. Do you have evidence to support it?" Aelkar nodded. "I was once part of an expeditionary force sent to study Earth and its inhabitants. We witnessed firsthand their ingenuity in overcoming impossible odds. We saw their unity in times of crisis, their capacity for innovation, and their willingness to sacrifice everything to defend their home." Images flickered in the holographic display, scenes from Earth, bustling cities, chaotic battlefields from ancient wars, people rebuilding after natural disasters, moments of triumph against adversity. Many of our scouts and observers believed humanity to be primitive, disorganized, and easy to subdue, Aelkar admitted. "We were wrong. Underestimate them at your own peril." Some delegates exchanged looks, unsettled. Others dismissed the message as fear-mongering. High Admiral Korvath of the Zevran Empire stood. "An interesting story, but not one that changes our strategies. Our fleets are prepared for any opponent. If humans wish to prove themselves, let them come." Elkar's eyes glowed faintly. "You may find that waiting is unwise. The humans do not wait. They prepare, and when the time comes, they strike with a force that reshapes the galaxy." With that, the alien envoy turned and vanished as suddenly as it had arrived, leaving the chamber buzzing with speculation and tension. Varlas leaned forward, his voice low but firm. "The warning is clear. We must decide if we heed it or dismiss it. The fate of our empires may depend on this choice." Outside the council chamber, the stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere out there, Earth spun quietly on its axis, home to a species that was about to change everything. The council's chambers emptied, but the tension lingered like a storm cloud hanging low across the galaxy. Whispers of humanity's rumored strength spread quickly through diplomatic circles and military outposts alike. Yet, many dismissed Elkar's warning as paranoia or desperate bluff. To most, humans were just another species on the outer rim. Far-flung, scattered colonies barely worth the trouble. One such colony lay on the edge of the Persean Collective's territory. New Dawn, a small human settlement on a rocky, cold planet with thin atmosphere and sprawling blue oceans. For the humans living there, it was home. A rough place, but full of hope, community, and dreams of a better future. Commander Alara Dane stood atop the settlement's observation tower, scanning the distant horizon through a reinforced viewport. The twin suns were setting, casting long shadows across the rugged landscape. She breathed in the cool, dry air, feeling the weight of her responsibility as leader of the colony's defense forces. "Commander, incoming transmission from the orbital sensors," reported Lieutenant Merrick, his voice tight. Alara nodded, signaling him to bring the feed on the main screen behind her. A grainy image flickered to life. Multiple alien warships emerging from a cloaked position near the system's asteroid belt. "They're here," Alara said quietly, eyes narrowing. "How many?" "Approximately 20 heavy cruisers, plus several frigates," Merrick replied. "They're moving fast, weapons powered up." Ilara's jaw tightened. The warning from the Galactic Council had been ignored. This was the proof. The aliens were coming, ready to strike first. "Alert all defense stations. Activate shields and prepare to engage," Alara ordered. Her calm voice betrayed none of the fear she felt inside. The survival of New Dawn and the message humanity was about to send rested on her shoulders. Outside, the skies darkened as the alien fleet advanced, their sleek black ships cutting through the atmosphere like predators. New Dawn's defense turrets hummed to life, tracking the incoming vessels with calculated precision. "First volley inbound," Merrick announced. Explosions bloomed in the sky as plasma bolts and missile salvos lit up the battlefield. But though humans fought with surprising coordination and speed, turret crews, some barely old enough to vote, operated with deadly focus, firing in bursts that disrupted the alien formations. Ilara moved quickly between command stations, coordinating communications, and adjusting tactics. The colony's ships, small but agile fighters, dove into the fray, weaving through enemy fire and striking vulnerable points. The alien attackers had expected an easy victory, but they met unexpected resistance. After hours of battle, several enemy ships were disabled or forced to retreat. The humans had won the skirmish, but Ilara knew this was just the beginning. "We've taken losses," Merrick said, his face pale. "But the enemy fleet is breaking formation. They're pulling back." Ilara allowed herself a brief nod of satisfaction. "Good. Prepare for counterattack. We're not letting them leave without a message." The humans struck back with a small fleet of frigates, striking at the alien supply ships retreating toward the asteroid belt. Using hit-and-run tactics and intimate knowledge of local space, they crippled key vessels, leaving the aliens stranded and vulnerable. Back on New Dawn, the people cheered cautiously. The battle was far from over, but for the first time, they tasted victory against a foe that had seemed unbeatable. News of the skirmish rippled quickly through the galaxy. Dispatches from New Dawn's command reached the Galactic Council and beyond, carrying tales of human ferocity and tactical brilliance. Suddenly, the whispers grew louder. Humans were no longer dismissed as primitives or weaklings. In the alien, Empire's unease spread. The Persean Collective's military advisors met in urgent sessions, poring over the battle reports. Their confidence was shaken. High Commander Virak of the Persean fleet paced the room, fists clenched. "We underestimated them," he growled. "Their defense was far too coordinated, their counterattack unexpected and brutal." A senior strategist replied, "We assumed their colonies would crumble like others have. Instead, they adapted. They fought with determination and cunning." Virak slammed his fist onto the table. "This changes everything. We must reconsider our approach. The humans are not a threat to be ignored." Yet despite growing doubts, some in the council remained defiant. "They are still isolated," insisted Ambassador Grell of the Cyrix Dominion. "We can crush them before they organize fully." But the Persean envoy Aelkar's warning echoed in Virak's mind. Humans do not wait. They prepare. Back on New Dawn, as the battle scars were tended and defenses strengthened, Commander Ilara stood under the starry sky, contemplating the days ahead. "We fought well today," she said softly to Merrick. "But the real fight is coming. The galaxy is watching now. If they want war, we'll give them a war they'll never forget." Merrick nodded, eyes shining with determination. "We'll show them what it means to face humanity." Somewhere far beyond, the alien fleets began to regroup and rethink their strategy. The war for the galaxy's future had just ignited, and humans were ready to burn bright. The New Dawn colony was a place of scars and hope. The battle had tested every ounce of human will and skill, but it had also revealed a truth the galaxy had yet to grasp. Humanity's strength was not just in their weapons or ships, but in their spirit. Commander Ilara Dane moved through the bustling settlement with quiet purpose. Engineers and technicians hurried past, repairing damaged turrets and restoring power. Civilians worked alongside soldiers, digging trenches, distributing supplies, and tending to the wounded. The colony was alive with a sense of shared determination, an unbreakable bond forged in the fires of conflict. Ilara paused outside the Sol, makeshift command center, where a group of scientists huddled over complex schematics. Dr. Arjun Patel, the lead engineer, looked up as she approached. "We're adapting their weapon designs," Arjun explained. "By integrating their energy signatures with our existing systems, we can create new defensive capabilities faster than expected." Ilara nodded, impressed. "Good! Keep pushing. Every edge counts." Humans had always thrived in adversity. Their history was a tapestry of challenges overcome. Natural disasters, wars, political upheavals, each hardship forging a resilience others couldn't match. Now that resilience was being tested on a galactic scale. Far from New Dawn, alien commanders debated their next moves. They had encountered a foe unlike any before. Humans who refused to yield, who adapted their tactics with lightning speed and unpredictable creativity. Standard battle plans faltered against human ingenuity. At the Persean Collective's war room, High Commander Virak glared at the holographic map displaying recent human counterattacks. "They're using guerrilla tactics," he said, frustration evident. "Striking where we're weakest, then vanishing. It's as if they anticipate our every move." Strategist Lyra spoke calmly. "Their communication networks are decentralized, and their fighters operate in small, highly coordinated units. They leverage their knowledge of local terrain and environments. We can't apply our usual strategies." Virak's jaw clenched. "Then we must find new ways. We cannot let humanity's defiance spread." Back on New Dawn, Ilara gathered her key officers for a briefing. The room was tense, but energized. "We won the first battle," Ilara began. "But this is just the beginning. The aliens will come again, stronger, smarter. We need to be ready to outthink them every step of the way. Lieutenant Merrick, standing beside her, added, "Our scouts report increased enemy activity near neighboring systems. They're preparing for a large-scale offensive." Ilara's gaze hardened. "Then we strike first. Not with brute force, but with strategy. We'll disrupt their supply lines, sabotage their communications, and turn their strengths into weaknesses." She paused, looking around the room. "Remember, our greatest weapon is the human spirit. They underestimate how far that can take us." That evening, Ilara walked through the colony's gathering square, where children played under the stars and elders shared stories of Earth's past struggles. She felt the weight of their hopes and fears, but also the fierce pride that bound them all. Nearby, a group of young fighters trained relentlessly, pushing themselves beyond exhaustion. They were the future, ready to defend humanity with every fiber of their being. "Commander Dane?" a voice called out. It was Sergeant Lila, Marin, a veteran of several skirmishes. "We've completed the modifications on the scout drones. They're faster and harder to detect." Ilara smiled. "Excellent work. Send them out at first light. We need eyes everywhere." The following days were a whirlwind of preparation and small, calculated strikes. Human pilots used hit-and-run tactics, slipping through asteroid fields and nebulae to harass enemy convoys. Engineers deployed electronic jammers and makeshift mines that crippled alien supply ships. Every victory was hard-fought but deeply felt. On the enemy side, frustration grew. Their disciplined fleets found themselves outmaneuvered by a force that refused to follow expected patterns. They fought not just with technology, but with the unpredictable creativity born of humanity's relentless will. One evening, as Ilara reviewed battle reports, a message arrived from Earth's Central Command. A secure transmission confirming that reinforcements were on the way. It was a beacon of hope. "We're not alone in this," Ilara said quietly to Merrick. "Humanity stands together no matter how far we're spread. That's why we'll win." Merrick nodded, his eyes reflecting the same fierce resolve. "They thought we were weak. They thought we were divided. They were wrong. The battle for survival had only just begun, but the humans of New Dawn had already shown the galaxy what it meant to fight with heart, mind, and soul. And that made all the difference. The skies above New Dawn were quieter now, but the storm was far from over. The small victories humanity had won were sparks, bright but fragile, against a force that was awakening to the threat humans posed. High Commander Virak stood on the bridge of the Zephyr's Wrath, the flagship of the Persean Collective's fleet. The vessel was a towering behemoth, bristling with weapons and advanced sensors, a symbol of the Empire's might. Around him, officers and tacticians moved with precise efficiency, coordinating the assembly of a massive invasion force. "Report," Virak demanded, his voice cold as the steel around him. "Fleet ready for deployment, Commander," came the response from Admiral Saran. "We have over 200 ships, cruisers, destroyers, bombers, and the new Dreadnought-class warships, equipped with planet-cracking weaponry." Virak nodded. "Good. The humans have proven more dangerous than expected. It's time to show them the true power of the Empire." The decision had been made at the highest levels. The Council, shaken by the loss at New Dawn and the mounting human resistance, authorized a full-scale invasion of Earth, their capital and heart of human civilization. If the Empire could crush Earth, the rebellion would end before it could truly begin. Meanwhile, on New Dawn, Commander Ilara Dane received the news through secure channels. The words hit her like a thunderclap. "The Empire is mobilizing an invasion." "Fleet," her intelligence officer reported, eyes grim. "They're aiming straight for Earth." Ilara took a deep breath, steadying herself. "Alert all colonies and fleets. This is no longer a frontier skirmish. It's a war for our survival." Within days, messages flew between human outposts. and Earth's command centers. Ships were readied, weapons upgraded, and alliances forged. Old rivalries between human factions were set aside in the face of the common enemy. On Earth, leaders gathered in the global command bunker beneath the ruins of a once bustling city. The air was thick with tension, but also determination. Admiral E. Cale Turner, Earth's top military strategist, addressed the Council. The Empire's fleet will arrive in full force within weeks. They expect a quick victory, but they underestimate our resolve and our unity. A holographic display showed the massive alien fleet en route, stretching across several light minutes of space. Their firepower was overwhelming. Alara's voice cut through the room. "We won't let Earth fall. We'll fight on every world, every battlefield, until they understand that humanity cannot be broken." Back in space, the Persean fleet moved, like a dark tide, relentless and powerful. Ships poured through wormholes, gathering near Earth's solar system. Sensors detected human resistance fleets scrambling to meet them. The first battles were fierce and chaotic. Alien cruisers unleashed barrages of plasma and missiles, while human fighters darted between asteroid belts and debris fields, launching precise strikes and then fading into cover. The humans used every advantage, speed, terrain, ingenuity, to delay the inevitable clash. On the surface of Earth, cities prepared for bombardment. Evacuation plans were in motion, but many stayed to defend their homes. The world was united in purpose. Ilara coordinated with Earth's command from New Dawn, directing reinforcements and sharing intelligence. "Their strength is overwhelming, but their focus is narrow," she observed. "They rely on brute force and intimidation. We must be smarter." Her advice was clear: hit their supply lines, disable their communications, and force them into guerrilla warfare. It was a desperate plan, but it was all they had. The turning point came when the Zephyr's Wrath launched a devastating assault on Earth's orbital defenses. The flagship unleashed its planet cracker weapon, a massive energy beam designed to break planetary crust and wipe out entire continents, but humanity had prepared for this. Earth scientists had developed a network of energy shields, fragile but effective, that absorbed much of the blast, dispersing the energy and limiting the damage. The attack left scars on the planet, but it was not the annihilation the Empire had hoped for. "This is far from over," Virax snarled as he watched the shield projections flicker and hold. "They are stubborn beyond reason." Meanwhile, in the chaos of space, human strike teams executed daring missions behind enemy lines. Pilots like Lieutenant Mara Hensley led squads in risky raids that destroyed supply depots and disrupted enemy coordination. Every success, no matter how small, fueled hope. Back on New Dawn, Ilara received word of Mara's latest victory. A faint smile crossed her face. "They think they can crush us with fear and power," Ilara said quietly. "But we fight with heart, with hope, and with the unyielding will to survive." The Empire's fury had been unleashed, but humanity's spirit burned brighter than ever. The galaxy was about to witness a war that would reshape everything, and humanity was ready to face it head-on. The war for the galaxy had reached a tipping point. Earth's orbit was a battlefield of fire and shadow, alien warships dueling with human fleets in a deadly dance. The Persean Empire's might pressed hard, yet humanity refused to break. It was then that the tide began to turn, not with overwhelming force, but with a single breakthrough born of relentless human ingenuity. Deep within a hidden research facility on the moon Titan, Dr. Ilara Kwan stood before her team, her eyes bright with exhaustion and hope. For months, they had been working on a secret project, the Pulse Disruptor. Unlike conventional weapons, the Pulse Disruptor was designed to disable the alien fleet's advanced systems before they could even raise their shields. "The key," Dr. Kwan explained, "is to send a targeted electromagnetic pulse tuned specifically to the alien ship's power cores. It won't destroy them outright, but it will knock out their weapons, propulsion, and communications, buying us precious time in battle. Commander Alara Dane, back on New Dawn and in constant contact with the Titan base, listened closely to the briefing. "How soon can we deploy this?" she asked. Dr. Kwan glanced at the clock. "If everything goes well, we can have a prototype, ready within days." The news spread quickly among the human command. Hope was rekindled. Meanwhile, the alien fleet prepared for their next assault on Earth. They believed their overwhelming numbers and technology would finally crush the human resistance. Their arrogance would prove costly. The first test came during a fierce skirmish near the asteroid field known as the Shattered Veil. Human forces, smaller but more agile, engaged a group of alien cruisers. As the battle reached its peak, the pulse disruptor was activated. A silent wave of energy rippled through space, invisible but deadly. Alien ships suddenly lurched, their weapons systems flickering off, engines stuttering, and communications breaking down. Confusion erupted in their ranks. Seizing the moment, human fighters swarmed the disabled vessels, launching precision strikes that left the alien fleet reeling. The enemy command struggled to regain control, but the disruption was devastating. Back on New Dawn, cheers erupted as news of the victory reached the colony. The pulse disruptor had worked beyond expectations. "This changes everything," Alara said to her officers. "The Empire thought their technology was invincible. Now we know their Achilles heel." With renewed determination, humans accelerated production of the pulse disruptor, installing it on more ships and stations. Each successful deployment forced the alien fleet to adopt more cautious tactics, slowing their advance and fracturing their unity. In the Persean Collective's war room, High Commander Virak's frustration grew. "Their technology is evolving. Too fast," he barked. "We cannot keep up." A strategist offered grim advice. "We must find and destroy the source of this new weapon. If we cut off their production, we can regain control." Virak nodded. "Prepare a task force. They will strike at Titan and any other known research facilities." The stakes were clear. Titan was humanity's lifeline, and its loss would be devastating. Alara coordinated defenses around the moon, readying forces for the inevitable assault. The alien task force approached Titan. Human pilots launched daring intercept missions, buying time for scientists and engineers to fortify their positions. The battle was brutal, with explosions lighting the sky and starships weaving through debris. Inside the research facility, Dr. Kwan and her team worked tirelessly, maintaining the pulse disruptor systems even as alarms blared and tremors shook the walls. Commander Ilara received word of the assault and knew this was a pivotal moment. "Hold the line," she ordered. "We cannot lose this ground." The fight on Titan became a symbol of human resilience, a testament to their will to protect their future, no matter the cost. In the end, the alien assault was repelled, but not without losses. The defenders mourned, but the victory was undeniable. The Vaishi pulse disruptor had shifted the balance. It gave humanity a fighting chance, forcing the Empire to rethink their strategies and respect the humans' technological brilliance. Back on New Dawn, Ilara Dane looked out at the stars, the distant glow of Titan's moon visible even from her remote colony. "We've taken the first real step toward victory," she said softly. "But the road ahead is still long. The Empire will not surrender easily." Yet for the first time in the war, hope burned brighter than fear. Humanity had found its edge, not just in weapons or numbers, but in the power of innovation and unyielding spirit. The galaxy watched as humans turned their breakthrough into a beacon of defiance, ready to challenge the Empire at every turn. Thiel. Pulse of war echoed across the stars, but not all threats came from the Persean Empire's fleets. In the shadows, a new danger stirred, one that could unravel humanity's fragile alliance from within. Commander Ilara Dane sat in the dim command room on New Dawn, eyes fixed on the flickering screens displaying fleet movements and intelligence reports. Despite the recent victories, the sense of unease weighed heavy. Reports had surfaced of sabotage, equipment failures, stolen codes, and intercepted communications that didn't add up. Lieutenant Merrick entered quietly, his expression grim. "Commander, there's been another incident at the main communications hub. Systems were compromised, nearly shutting down our relay to Earth." Ilara's jaw tightened. "Who's behind this?" "We don't know for certain," Merrick said, "but some of the evidence points to a mole, someone within our ranks feeding information to the enemy." A cold silence filled the room. Betrayal was a poison far worse than any laser blast. Ilara stood, her voice steady. "We need to find this traitor before they destroy everything we've fought for." The hunt began. Security teams swept through the colony, interrogating personnel, scanning for anomalies. Trust frayed as suspicion spread like wildfire. Among the officers, whispers circulated. Some wondered if the traitor was driven by fear, others by greed or hatred. No one was beyond suspicion. Meanwhile, the alien empire sensed the chaos. Their spies and saboteurs had begun to penetrate deeper than before, exploiting cracks in humanity's defenses. At a clandestine meeting in the lower levels of New Dawn, a shadowy figure exchanged encrypted data with an unknown contact. "The humans grow stronger," the figure muttered, "but their trust is fragile. We will tear it apart." Back in the command center, Ilara worked tirelessly alongside her intelligence officers, piecing together fragments of evidence. The stakes were higher than ever. If the traitor wasn't caught quickly, entire fleets could be compromised, ambushed or destroyed before they could fight. One night, as Ilara reviewed a series of intercepted messages, she noticed a pattern, a subtle but consistent anomaly in the communications network. Tracing the source led to an unexpected location: the quarters of Lieutenant Aaron Voss, a trusted communications specialist known for his calm demeanor and technical brilliance. Ilara didn't want to believe it. "Merrick, assemble a team. We're confronting Voss." The team moved swiftly and silently. Aaron Voss was found trying to erase data from his terminal, his hands trembling. "Why?" Ilara demanded as she stepped into the room. Voss looked up, eyes haunted. "You don't understand. The Empire, they promised safety, peace. Without this war, humanity wouldn't survive." Ilara's heart sank. "You betrayed us for what? A false hope?" Voss shook his head. "I wanted to protect my family. This war will destroy us all." Before they could question further, alarms blared. The Empire's fleet had launched a sudden massive strike on New Dawn's orbital defenses. The traitors' actions had weakened their response. Ilara's team detained Voss, but the damage was done. Explosions rocked the colony as enemy ships breached the outer shield. "Battle stations," Ilara ordered, her voice steel. The humans fought desperately, their defenses faltering but not broken. Pilots launched into the fray, weaving through enemy fire to intercept bombers targeting the colony's core facilities. In the chaos, Ilara realized the traitors' true cost: lives lost, trust shattered, and the enemy emboldened. After the battle, as the dust settled and repairs began, Ilara addressed her officers. "Betrayal cuts deep, but it will not break us. We must be vigilant. Not just against the enemy outside, but against the doubts and fears within." She knew this was a harsh lesson. War was not only fought with weapons, but with hearts and minds. The episode strengthened humanity's resolve. Security tightened, but the bond between the people also grew stronger, tested and proven resilient. In the coming days, intelligence confirmed that the Empire had suffered unexpected losses, struggling against the renewed human defenses fortified with the pulse disruptor. But Ilara remained wary. The shadows were still long, and enemies, both seen and unseen, lurked. in the darkness. "Trust must be earned and guarded," she told Merrick one quiet evening. "Because the true battle isn't just out there, it's right here within us." And with that, humanity prepared for the next phase of the war, a fight for survival, for honor, and for the very soul of their future. The war had worn on, relentless and unforgiving. But humanity's spirit, tested by betrayal, loss, and sacrifice, was far from broken. As New Dawn rebuilt and healed, Commander Alara Dane knew the battle for the galaxy was entering a critical phase. The Empire's grip was tightening, but so was humanity's resolve. The Pulse Disruptor had leveled the playing field, but victory would require more than technology. It would require courage, unity, and a daring strike into the heart of the Empire itself. In the war room on New Dawn, maps of star systems and fleet movements glowed softly. Alara stood before her officers, her voice steady but charged with urgency. "We've held the line, but the Empire is regrouping. Their next target is the Epsilon sector, one of our key supply routes and a staging ground for reinforcements. If they take it, they'll cut us off completely." Lieutenant Merrick stepped forward. "We have intelligence on their fleet movements. Their defenses are strong, but there's a weakness, an underprotected command hub deep in the sector." Alara's eyes sharpened. "If we can strike there, disrupt their communications and command, it could cripple their operations across multiple fronts." The room fell silent, the weight of the plan settling over them. "It's risky," Alara admitted. "But the alternative is losing the Epsilon sector, and with it, our chance to keep fighting." Preparations began immediately. A fleet of human cruisers, fighters, and stealth ships assembled in secret. Pilots trained relentlessly for the dangerous mission ahead, knowing failure meant not only defeat but potential annihilation. Among the crew was Lieutenant Mara Hensley, whose daring raids had become legendary. She was assigned to lead the stealth squadron, tasked with penetrating enemy lines undetected. On the eve of the mission, Mara stood on the observation deck, gazing at the stars. Alara joined her quietly. "You're ready for this," Alara said. Mara nodded, determination burning in her eyes. "We all are. The Empire thinks they can break us. They haven't seen what humans can do when we fight for everything." The fleet slipped through space, cloaked and silent, navigating asteroid belts and nebulae to avoid detection. The tension was palpable. One wrong move could lead to disaster. As they neared the command hub, sensors picked up increased enemy patrols. The Empire had fortified the area, aware it was vulnerable but confident their numbers would protect it. Mara's squadron, separated from the main fleet, weaving through enemy defenses. Their stealth technology masked their approach, but time was short. With precision and coordination, they disabled perimeter sensors and took out forward outposts, clearing a path for the larger force. Suddenly, alarms blared across the enemy station. The Empire had detected the intrusion. "Engage combat protocols," Virak's voice crackled through the station's comm channels. "Destroy the invaders." The battle erupted, laser fire streaking across the void, explosions shaking the station. Human fighters moved like shadows, striking swiftly and vanishing before counterattacks could be organized. Mara led a daring assault on the command center itself, planting charges to cripple the station's systems. The tension was electric. Back on New Dawn, Alara coordinated the main fleet support, launching missile barrages and electronic countermeasures to keep enemy reinforcements at bay. Inside the command hub, the station's defenses faltered. The Pulse Disruptor's influence spread, disabling weapon systems and throwing the enemy into chaos. With the final charge set, Mara's team raced to escape as the station erupted in controlled explosions, severing enemy communications and crippling their command network. The fleet retreated swiftly, evading pursuit. The damage was immense. The Empire's ability to coordinate its forces across the sector was shattered. News of the victory spread quickly through human outposts and colonies. For the first time in months, hope surged through the ranks like wildfire. Ilara addressed, her officers, her voice resolute. We've turned the tide, not with overwhelming numbers, but with courage, ingenuity, and unity. The Empire will regroup, but now they know humanity will never be easy prey. High Commander Virak, aboard. The Zephyr's Wrath stared at the flickering communications blackout. The loss was a blow he could not ignore. They fight with heart, he muttered, fury simmering beneath the surface. But we will not falter. Prepare for the final phase. As human fleets celebrated, Ilara looked to the stars, knowing the road ahead was still perilous. But we fight on, she said softly. Because humanity's greatest weapon is not its ships or weapons. It's the unbreakable will to survive and to rise again. The galaxy was watching, and humanity was ready to show what it truly meant to be strong. The final battle had begun. From the distant reaches of space, the Persean Empire's forces surged like a tidal wave toward humanity's heart, Earth itself. The fate of billions hung in the balance. Commander Ilara Dane stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute Dawn, her gaze steady, her resolve unshakable. Today, she said to her crew, we fight not just for survival, but for everything we believe in. Our families, our freedom, our future. Across the galaxy, humans of every faction, every world, prepared to unite in a last, desperate stand. The Empire's fleet darkened the skies above Earth, a storm of metal and fire. The Zephyr's Wrath led the charge, its immense power ready, to crush the resistance once and for all. But humanity was ready. The pulse disruptor technology had been integrated into every ship and station, turning the tide of battle. Skilled pilots like Lieutenant Mara Hensley danced through enemy fire, striking critical points with precision. Ground forces defended Earth's surface with fierce determination, their combined efforts creating a web of resistance no enemy could easily unravel. As the two forces clashed in orbit, the Resolute Dawn led a bold assault on the Zephyr's Wrath. The battle was brutal and close, fire lighting the void in violent bursts. Every moment tested human courage and skill. Commander Ilara's voice echoed through the ship. Steady, focus. We will not yield. When the Zephyr's Wrath unleashed its devastating planet cracker beam, the human shield network held firm, absorbing and dispersing the deadly energy. The Empire's flagship faltered, exposed to counterattack. With a coordinated strike, Mara's squadron disabled the warship's primary weapon systems. The Zephyr's Wrath faltered, then exploded in a brilliant cascade of fire and debris, a symbol of the Empire's first true defeat. High Commander Virak's voice was grim in the aftermath. This is not over, he vowed. Humanity's spirit is strong, but we will return. Yet the victory was decisive. The Empire's fleet, disorganized and demoralized, began to retreat. Human forces pressed the advantage, reclaiming lost systems and securing their future. On Earth, celebrations erupted as news of the triumph spread. People gathered beneath the stars, united by hope and the promise of peace. Commander Ilara Dane stood among them, her eyes reflecting the night sky. We faced destruction and betrayal, but we endured. Our strength is not in our weapons or technology. It is in our spirit, our unity, and our will to rise from ashes. She thought of all who had fought and fallen, the scientists on Titan, the pilots in the shadows, the countless souls who refused to give up. This victory belongs to every human who dared to believe, she said softly. The stars are ours, not because we conquered, but because we never stopped reaching. The galaxy would remember this war, not as a tale of empire and destruction, but as the story of humanity's rise, fierce, defiant, and unbreakable. As the fires of battle faded, new light dawned, an era of hope, exploration, and boundless possibility. From the ashes of war, humanity's stars burned brighter than ever.